Hello and welcome to this Festival of Fresh interview with Neal Collishaw from, now he works for Horizon Agriculture. He was with Worldwide Fruit for 30 years before that as their operations director. He was involved in the first ever installation of Softripe, which is a groundbreaking new ripening technology, which I think it's fair to say is transforming the quality of avocados and other fruits, and is a major step change in those sectors. So it was back in the first lockdown of the pandemic that the first Softripe installation was put in the UK at Worldwide. I think it's fair to say that it wasn't the easiest time to make that move. But Neal has some very detailed knowledge of how it all works, and it's on Softripe that we're going to focus today. So hello, Neal. It's great to have you with us.
Yeah, hi, and it's great to spend some time with you. Thank you.
Let's get into it. So Softripe ripening technology. Could you tell us first of all a bit about how it works and what makes it unique? What makes it stand out from conventional ripening technology?
Well, the uniqueness comes from it is the only ripening system which can infinitively adapt to the total atmospheric condition within the chamber, measuring the specific requirements of the fruit or the batch that's actually in there at that moment in time. There is no other system that can do that, and it's got a dynamic aptitude in terms of how it manages what it's sensing, and it's managing that fruit real time on the fly. There is no other system that's capable of doing that, not currently, and not that certainly I've ever reviewed or looked at over the years.
Okay. And what other benefits would you say it has compared to conventional ripening? What does it give to the supplier and to the consumer?
Well, certainly the predictability. Once the fruit's in the room, within the normal, typically 4 to 12 hours, the room's going to be able to calculate the specific requirements of the room and the fruit, what's needed, and it's going to give us a predicted time, really to the minute, of when that fruit's actually going to be available to come out of that room. Which in the current climate in FMCG, that known quantity at specific timing is absolutely key. And that knowledge allows a consistent position of the guarantee of any availability from the room, and for the material to move into the next stage of the process. The next stage in terms of the production process can be aligned then specifically with that known sort of time, and then from that you've got known consistently then at your point of dispatch. Previous ripening systems, you would probably compromise at those guaranteed known points of time with product that was probably not, in a guaranteed position at that point in time. You would have times you would have to hit. With Softripe, you can hit those consistently with guaranteed product, no compromise.
And I know it's made a big difference in the avocado category. Which other fruits, which other products can it be used for?
Well, certainly when we first bumped into the Softripe solution, I had the opportunity to travel and research as we started to build a business case at Worldwide Fruit of whether we were going to move forward. We needed to find that evidence. So I was fortunate to spend some time over in Switzerland with the guys over there who had got a significantly large deployment of Softripe in country at the time, and they were working with bananas. And the impact what they were having on the bananas against the conventional system was quite astonishing, in terms of being able to control the timelines of the ripeness. They were ripening in a different way compared to the traditional colour ripening, and their ability as well to play with the starch levels and affect the taste of the product was a real standout. From that, I then travelled into Brazil and worked with the guys over there on a Softripe system where they were ripening mango for the home market in Brazil. And the challenges they had in Brazil were majority of the supermarkets or the shelving was ambient in a highly tropical country. So product would deteriorate really quickly post ripening. Whereas for the soft ripe product, and what really impressed me there, whereas on bananas was taste, in Brazil it was the life, the ability where they can actually extend the life, retain a higher level of moisture in the product, and retain life. And then towards the end of my time at Worldwide Fruit were they were doing some extensive trials on stone fruit.
Okay.
The results were fantastic on stone fruit, but stone fruit has its own supply chain challenges in terms of the high volume of varieties and the short windows of the bloom and the growing periods. So a supply chain challenge there, but Softripe's performance with that product was a step up on traditional ripening processes.
So as it stands, which fruits is the Softripe technology being used for predominantly, would you say, across Europe?
Across Europe, or even globally, you would say the largest deployments are really on banana.
Okay.
Which and understandably so within that product category. In most countries, bananas are ripened, so not every country is ripening the other products that we just discussed, but certainly banana is probably the most deployed product currently. Close behind that is avocado.
Okay. I've heard said before about Softripe that what you're aiming for is to replicate on-tree ripening, so to replicate that natural process and the results that gives in terms of fruit quality. Is there ever really a substitute for natural tree ripening? Can Softripe really deliver the same results in terms of quality and flavour?
By embracing scientific thinking, Softripe have the technology to ripen fruit without adding the stress of the traditional systems within that process. This allows the fruit to ripen in the best way possible for the ultimate condition to be achieved at the end of the ripening process. Can you replicate nature? Can you ever replace natural tree ripening? It's an interesting question, but what we certainly can do is, by embracing that scientific thinking, we can increase our understanding, increase and better the technology that's available to us, and certainly close the gap. Can you ever replace it? I don't suppose you can never say never, can you? However, yeah, I wouldn't want to give a definitive yes or no to that one.
Okay, I'll let you slightly dodge that one. I'll allow that.
Yeah.
So what challenges still persist, would you say, in fruit ripening despite these technological advances? And what do you think can be done to overcome these?
I think without question, the ever-changing climate conditions have and will continue to pose challenges and affect the fruit's condition. And what we will require with a ripening process in order to achieve the optimal conditions has to move forward to adapt and be able to meet and lean into those challenges. There are also inconsistencies and variabilities within the procurement, the supply chain, as well as the growing methods. And again, they're having to adjust constantly to this ever-changing climate and world, challenges in terms of supply chain. Supply chains are not the same as they were 3 years ago, 4 years, 5 years ago. What were they going to look like in 2 years? We don't know. We can predict it. We've got to be able to adapt to it. So all of those are posing, significant challenges. If we wrap this all up, it prevents further challenges to the ripening process. It's the end of the process, and it's where we're gonna make the product, from its current state and turn it into the future state of what the consumer needs. So it's a critical step. But what we found with Softripe is it was a great shock absorber, and it was a system that was able to actually start to dampen down all of those challenges and all of those variabilities, to give us that known position, and start to move us towards that assured, guaranteed state, which if you're involved in ripening, they're all the questions that need to be answered now, or certainly being asked now, and need to be answered very soon.
And focusing on avocados specifically, I mean, they're a notoriously tricky fruit to ripen, and I mean, the sector has come on leaps and bounds in terms of product consistency. But in recent seasons, quality hasn't been helped by the fact that some suppliers have been sending fruit which is underripe in an effort to secure better prices in certain supply windows. To what extent can Softripe help iron out some of the inconsistencies that arise from that, even when suppliers might be trying their luck with poorly timed shipments?
Well, this is one of the key benefits we found with Softripe. It totally deals with that problem and provides the consistency that you refer to. The main challenge that lies ahead for suppliers of avocados is not finding the solution within their current process or their current ripening technology. Softripe can answer that challenge and answer that question that they're probably asking themselves. The obstacle to seeing each and every UK consumer receive the consistency that they desire is converting the current suppliers of avocados to retailers from the existing methods and moving into this more predictable, controlled ripening technology with less man-made variation. Let's not forget, we put variation into this product by trying to achieve the optimum getting it to market. This is not as easy as it sounds. The whole procurement and delivery chain has historically been geared around the unpredictability. So it's been built around the just in case scenarios. So this needs to be remapped and changes identified and implemented to really harness then the technology and harness Softripe. The two things need to come together. You don't just put a technological solution in and not change the supply chain to work with that to enhance the benefits from that. My expertise lies in showing, I believe, the UK sort of suppliers how to make that transition. This is Softripe, but how do we line our processes and how do we line our supply chains to actually get the maximum benefit from the system?
And just finally, how do you expect the international avocado market to cope with what is likely to be quite significant oversupply this year? There are large volumes coming out of Peru and other countries. How do you think Softripe can help ease that situation?
Well, one of the best ways to address a high supply scenario is to increase demand. And the best way to increase demand of avocados in the UK is to deliver high quality at a price point that works. But keep the promise, and that promise has to be kept. And it is what it says on the packaging. It has to be ripe and ready to eat. It's not going to be a period or a time, a marketplace where you can disappoint. In an oversupply situation, price will be under pressure and quality will be increased. And the scrutiny around those two things will be much more intense. So this means the focus on yields and deliverable specifications become game changers towards winning and losing for those suppliers. Consistently ripe and ready to eat avocado with low wastage to consume is going to be the winner. And getting that right and delivering it every time is going to be an absolute, you need to be on point with those measurables. So challenging times, but with the right solution, you can lean into those challenges comfortably.
So it's going to force suppliers to kind of up their game essentially in order to compete.
It's going to be competitive. At 100%. You're going to need to be absolutely on point in terms of your quality. You're going to need to be on point in terms of the customer complaints, and you're going to have to be at that price point. And all of those, there's going to be very little room to compromise.
Okay, well, it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out, but it sounds like Softripe can definitely be a major asset to avocado suppliers this year and in the future. So thanks a lot for joining us, Neal. It was brilliant to talk to you.
No problem at all. Thank you very much.